was once a dream that was Rome.
Hey guys, before we get into the video and the review, I want to say thank you to Alex Gough for sending me a free copy of the ebook of Caesar Soldier, and that I have provided a link to purchase book 1 of this series on Amazon, and the link to the broken binding edition, just in case you want a fancier version. Alright my dudes, enjoy the video.
Ave my dudes, and welcome back to Pax Romana. I just finished Caesar Soldier by Alex Gough. Absolute, pure Mark Antony Kino.
What shall I tell Punk?
Of course. Excuse me, I'd forgot you.
Alex was kind enough to send me an e-copy of this book, and I loved it so much that I bought the broken binding edition. Let's talk about Caesar Soldier. We begin with the ending. The first chapter lands us in Alexandria, where everything has fallen apart for our hero. His army is destroyed, his enemies are triumphant, and his woman is dead. Well, maybe. As lovers of Roman history, we know how Mark Antony's story ended, but what we don't have is a step-by-step process of how we got to that point on that day in Alexandria. Caesar's Soldier then transports us back in time to the childhood of Mark Antony. The timeline of the novel spans from the childhood of Mark Antony to his battles with Caesar in Gaul, ending with the Battle of Alesia. When you know the ending of a story, for that book to be good, the writing has to be top-notch and the character work has to be spectacular. You need to feel connected to the moments that happened before, and Alex really knocked this one out of the park. We get a young Mark Antony who is making friends in Rome, and enemies. The names that are thrown at you, such as Clodius, Curio, and Rufus, are familiar if you're a student of Roman history, but even if you aren't, these side characters grow with Mark, and even without a basic understanding of Rome, you become familiar with these people. You understand where they are in the pivotal political battles of the day. You figure out quickly where Mark belongs and how that affects who his friends are. This point in Roman history is the most famous, in my opinion. The names are bigger than life, and the stories are unforgettable. I think we sometimes forget that the major players in Rome, the senators, the very rich, were an extremely tight circle. If you were like Mark Antony, part of this upper crust, you probably knew every major player in Rome. So we get a young Mark Antony who, while hitting puberty and learning how to become a Roman man, is dealing with the death of family members, a mother who worries her hot-headed son will land in trouble, and a stepfather who is about to pick a side in a possible civil war. In the background, Cicero and Catiline are on a collision course that will cement an already worsening political situation in the Republic. I don't want to delve into a play-by-play here for the review, as I want you to read the book. However, I do want to discuss why I enjoyed this particular work of historical fiction so much. All of us will be familiar with the events depicted in this book. I personally am the kind of person who gets upset about historical inaccuracies in books and movies. I can tell you I had zero issues with this book's accuracy. However, what sets a great historical fiction novel apart from a mere retelling of events with some new elements is, of course, the character work. As we travel with Mark across the Roman Empire, from Rome to Greece to Syria, and finally to Gaul, we feel as though we are growing up alongside him. This is important because Mark Antony is one of the most famous Romans ever, isn't he? He's endlessly discussed, talked about, and portrayed. Creating a version of Mark that felt fresh and new to me was very impressive. I am familiar with the events that happened in Mark's life, or at least a vague outline based on Roman sources, but I was still intrigued by every new Antony adventure in this book. Earlier in my life, I made the mistake of not reading much historical fiction because I falsely assumed it was just a bland retelling of stories I had already read about. Obviously, I was dead wrong. Now, why should you read Caesar Soldier? A few reasons, really. To start, it's just a well-written novel. Alex is clearly well-versed in Roman history on top of being a skilled writer. The characters are some of the most badass in history. This is a familiar time period to many of us, but I still felt like I was reading something new. Book 3 just released, and I will be starting Book 2 very soon. When I can't wait to start a next book in a series, that's when I know I really enjoyed the first one. Caesar's Soldier gets all the stars from me. It took an era I thought I was tired of and made it exciting again. Props to Alex Gough for writing a hell of a book. Have you read Caesar's Soldier? If you have, let me know in the comments what you thought. Also, suggest some other Roman historical fiction I should be reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, Delende es Carthago.
I would like to give a big thank you to the members of the Patreon, including John E. Settle, History Marsh, Jeremy Abrahamson, Callan Nellis, Tim Lockertson, and Air Stoner. If you would like to join the Patreon, head on over to patreon.com/updatingonrome, where for just a few bucks a month, you can help support the Empire. Thank you.